What's up, you beautiful people? Welcome back for another edition of the Watchpoint Post Show. We are live from the Blizzard Arena in Los Angeles, and we just closed out another great day here in the Blizzard Arena. It's Chris Puckett alongside Zoe. We've got Bren, we've got Sideshow, and guys, it's week 2. Pretty good start to week 2. And Zoe, we missed you last week, and Hex was on the desk, so I'm going to start today's show with you. What did you learn?
Ooh, what did I learn? I think because this is the last game we saw, what I learned is that Toronto may or may not want to look for another option within their main tank department.
Oh!
Yeah, I'm going there. I'm also very tired, so I get very mean when I'm tired. No, but I was disappointed. I was disappointed with Yakpeng.
All right. I learned. Okay, now I'm gonna say this now. I used to like the food segments we do on Watchpoint.
That's good.
Because I used to get to eat them, and it was nice. I could snack on it.
Free food.
In the post show,
You could
often
break the
I'd
walls
get
with fruits.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I'd try and break the LED screens. I'd have a baguette I could munch on throughout the rest of the show. But that actually has ruined it for me from now on. In the pre-show today, eating the spicy chicken nuggets. My stomach is still burning.
Yeah,
Now,
it was still hurt.
how long has the day been? Now,
We smelled it in the
hours.
green room. What about you, Josh?
What have I learned? I mean, I hate to be negative here, but I think what I've learned is that despite the improvements of the Florida Mayhem and the Washington Justice, they're still quite a long way from being outside of that bottom 3. And even though they're starting to trend in the right direction, they're pretty far away from
The
it.
anchor's pretty heavy.
We're
It
really,
is pretty
we're
heavy.
really positive in our takeaways.
Yeah, I learned that you guys need sugar, all right? We need to make these people happy. Let's jump into the action from the day because we had the Philadelphia Fusion who came into Stage 2 with one of the toughest schedules in the league ahead of them. Well, it didn't get much easier today against the Toronto Defiant. A very interesting first half, and we had a lot of fun. 1-1 score coming into this Game 3 on Blizzard World. Ivy showing us he's got a Genji.
Yeah, I really like this from Ivy, actually. We haven't seen too much of this guy, but he was notorious within the Korean contender scene as being... actually, he wasn't even that notorious, to be honest. A lot of people didn't rate him that highly, but whenever you saw him play, it was clear that he had this kind of potential to be a star DPS. You can't really show too much of that when you're on Zarya, but his Genji is very good.
I will say, you know, we predicted, Josh, me and you, at the halftime, if they took Blizzard World, they were going to win the entire series.
Yep.
We found that did come true. Again, we are God tier analysts at the end of the day.
Oracle, some would say.
What can I say? Rialto, though, I will be honest, did not go the way I expected it to in terms... I mean, it is a new meta, new compositions, but there was some odd stuff being ran throughout Rialto, which is... Normally, when I think of Rialto, I think of it as a triple tank, triple support sort of map. It wasn't really the case with the point A holds and attacks a lot of the way.
And so you came into today picking Toronto. They looked pretty good on the first point of attack and then slowly started to stall out. What are some of the big issues you watched?
Well, I think my biggest issue was Yakpeng was a bit of a feeder today. And I think when I say a bit, it's actually an understatement. There were so many plays, I didn't understand it. There was a moment where Ivy was actually dying. He had maybe 5 HP left, and that was the moment where Yakpeng decided to jump in on his Winston and drop a bubble there just to die himself. There was just no reason. There were so many engagements he took.
Joined him in solidarity. Joined him in the spawn.
Yeah, but no, that's not how we do it.
Keep him company, you know?
That's not how it's working. I don't know. That was painful. I did not expect it. But I think when we talked about this match in the pre-show, dear me, it's late. I'm really tired.
Yeah.
When we talked about it in the pre-show, none of us felt super strongly about picking either of those teams.
Yeah, and also at the halftime, you were telling us, Puckett, that these are two
You guys
teams.
wanted to flip-flop also.
That's
yeah,
true,
so,
but both of these two teams were kind of vying to become a really respected top team. And I don't think the performance that either of them showed us today was really at that kind of level where you'd feel comfortable saying, all right, Fusion, now that they won this game, they're one of the big dogs. There's still a bunch of holes in their play, honestly.
I will say this, though. Getting this win for Fusion is massive for them in terms of their Stage 2 schedule.
Oh, it is.
Because the rest of their games are horrifically hard. So getting this win is fantastic for them.
Much needed win today for the Philadelphia Fusion. The Vancouver Titans and Seoul Dynasty also faced off earlier in a rematch of our Stage 1 playoff semifinals. Today, Seoul tried a different lineup, but at the end of the day, pretty similar results. This time, it's a 3-1. Remember, at the half, it was all Titans. And let's talk about this squad because they are undefeated, an 11 streak coming into today, and they haven't switched up their comp at all, guys. They're still running 3-3s.
I honestly wonder, what does it take for them to actually go away from that? The only times we really see them straying away from that 3-3 composition is when they're trying to be cute and fancy. It's when they already have the game in the back and then they're just like, yeah, let's have some fun. That's kind of where we see them really like seriously switching. But other than that, like they just seem to roll over every team at the moment.
Monty made a good point in his cast today about this match. He said he was playing devil's advocate to my point, saying how Seoul, you know, they've already fielded their normal roster against Vancouver. They got rolled. Why not try this this secondary squad that they actually have in their back pocket, see if it produces some different results? It didn't, but you know, I can recognize that there is possibly some reasoning there to running this this line.
Were there keys to this Seoul lineup today that you would like to see in the future again for this team? Because they're in the top half of the league. They're definitely not out of the running for Stage 2 contention again. So what can Seoul learn from today's match?
Well, I think they're in a very interesting and unique position, the Seoul Dynasty, because they have these two rosters, and they don't really like to blend them too much. They'll either run, you know, Marvel, Toby, Fitz, or they'll run Fisher, Jexa, Fleta. But perhaps just this will be an experimental process whereby they try and pick out the best pieces of each. Now, I've actually been a fairly big advocate of Marvel throughout the time where we've been thinking about the Seoul Dynasty this season. He's not bad. He's no Fissure, for sure, but he's not bad, and it allows you to play a different style where you don't have to put all your resources into your main tank. So the way that Seoul were playing very recently, when they played against the Gladiators, and, you know, Fissure was there playing against his former team, all of the resources were into him. Seoul kind of play differently, a bit more of a balanced approach when they have these guys in, and I don't think it's a bad look for them, but it's still not good enough.
Right,
to be able to be the top.
We're talking about map counts. Titans still chasing NYXL's overall map count. Today they finished with a 3-1. Do you feel that game 4 they eased off the gas pedal a little bit?
This is classic Titans, isn't it? Like,
I mean, classic Titans would be like Bumper on Hanzo.
Right. Bumper, you have 5 minutes to play Hanzo and then switch back to the Reinhardt to win the game.
This team is notorious, I think, for stepping off the gas a little bit when it comes to those map 4s. And unfortunately, it is going to be making a difference in the long term. There are going to be real side effects to this when we get into stage 4. Don't me, son, with your little Joker-looking face. Look at you.
About that. Map differential only matters if you start losing.
Very good point.
That is a reasonable
Perfect
point.
record will get you to the playoffs.
Here's a scenario I can actually foresee happening, is that because they're such a new team to the league, they're okay now, sure, yes. But if things start going downhill, we haven't seen this team yet when things start going poorly for them.
That's true.
So if things do start going poorly and the map differential then starts making a difference for them, they're going to be regretting all these times back in stage 1, stage 2, where they did just kind of like mess around a little bit, taking the mickey. So
it is entertaining to watch, though.
It is very
Not to say that I don't like appreciate like what Shock does, where they just like walk all over their opponents, like no mercy whatsoever. That's also lovely to watch.
Yeah, I think in a meta where tanks aren't viable anymore, we could see Vancouver lose. Until that happens, I think they're pretty safe, Josh. I'm with you on that one. Coming up after the break, we'll see how the other teams sitting at the top of the season standings fared against some old teammates. Don't go anywhere, guys. It's the Watchpoint Post Show. We'll be right back. Coca-Cola is the official refreshment of the Overwatch League. The Paris Eternal came into their match against the Florida Mayhem today, looking to rebound after a tough loss to the Hunters on Saturday. To start things off, Eternal's looking pretty good. Fenzi flexing over to the Soldier. We watched that back in Contender Season 0, but it's really the Shadowburn Soon show when it comes to control.
Yeah, and Saya Player actually started out on McCree, and I thought we were going to see something super interesting. You know, Saya Player, the hit scan god against Soon and Shadowburn, but he moved up the brick a little bit afterwards.
Wasn't the case.
Let me show you my shield bash.
And I mean, for Florida, I feel like I'm trying to find a positive here. Okay,
You can do it.
Let's have a little comment on this though here, because these set nade plays, we see this quite often actually. A lot of these veteran Ana players, they know a lot of these spots on these classic maps like Hanamura, but that is beautiful.
Have any of you guys ever pulled this off in your own game? Because I have
seen
not
that.
done it yet.
I didn't even see that. I didn't even know that was a thing, personally.
I mean, King's Row is a classic map for
Oh,
it
yes,
as well.
yes, yeah.
Like, what I'm saying is, like, Hanamura, King's Row, these maps that have been out for quite some time, when Ana was meta, nade spots were all the rage, and a lot of these players, Gray's a veteran, man. He's been around the block, hasn't he?
This is one of Gray's best games that we've seen so far from him as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Was he great?
Oh, that's terrible.
It's-
Get
Come
out.
on, guys.
It happened.
Get out.
It's really
Yep,
late.
it happened.
No, but I was actually very happy to see Paris Eternal, or rather their entirety of their performance. I do think they felt coordinated. They do seem very comfortable in this current meta, and except from the very last map where they just didn't know how to actually break a pirate ship. You know, not like we've never seen that one before. But hey, whatever. Apart from that, I do think they had a great set plays for this match. They looked prepared.
Brent, do you want to see Danya in the lineup again for Paris? Interesting to see him come in for Blizzard World.
Not really too fussed, to be honest, Bucket.
Okay.
If I'm going to be honest with you.
You didn't like his Genji? Didn't impress
I
you?
mean, Shadowburn hasn't been playing too bad on a Genji. I mean, Josh held the opinion. I don't know if you hold it anymore. I'm not going to put words in your mouth. The Shadowburn style is a little bit outdated.
Yes, I still
But
do think that.
you still think that?
Yeah.
I don't think it's too bad. Honestly, you just get
I think-
Blade, you
I
get
think-
Nano Boost.
Yeah, but
you
that's
swing.
the thing. Like, he works well when he gets the support. If he doesn't get any support from the Ana or anything else, then he just looks okay.
Yeah, you have to put quite a lot of resources into it. But Daniel's got a fantastic Widow as well, which Shadowburn just doesn't.
I think, like Vancouver, we saw Paris take their foot off the gas in that fourth map. Big map win for Florida. You got a little bit of momentum going into your next one, but
Small victory.
honestly, I felt like this was such a one-sided day up until that final match.
It definitely was.
Highlights of this one. Josh, we know Florida is in a bit of a retooling mode right now, so let's talk about this squad. Yes, they get that final map win. We saw a lot more from this team, but they're rebuilding right now. So who do you rebuild around on the current lineup?
Now, I think clearly the six-man core that they have at the moment, there's two players that you should be looking to build around, and that's Saya Player and BQB. And these guys just came into the roster recently. Saya Player was on it for, the majority of last season. BQB, a more recent addition.
You don't like Zephyr?
They're both very talented. They're both very good players. Saya Player's obviously fantastically talented, a bunch of hit scan stuff. McCree, Soldier 76's Widowmaker, all fantastic. BQB plays a range of different things, but mostly known for his Sombra. You probably need to add another DPS player in to make it a bit more well-rounded. They're not the most well-rounded DPS duo in the world. But when you look at their support line, it's okay. You could do all right with Chris and Hagapyun on like a low to mid-table team. Zephyr and Swan, though, that's the area that I would be looking at to make improvements for the Florida Mayhem. I think you've got to be looking at changing that tank line. Tank lines drive teams. They're the backbone of the entire team. And if you have players that are either underperforming or aren't working well within the system or are making large errors, that's got to be your first choice, in my opinion.
All right. Real quick on the DPS player. You said they're retooling, trying to make an all-Korean team. So who are some of the DPS players that are maybe out there on the market you would like to see eventually land up in Florida?
Ooh, that's an interesting question. There's a bunch of players in Contenders Korea, but I'm not 100% sure on which ones are actually of age at the moment, which ones would be 18 and
You got to be able to buy Striker from the Shock, right? They're not using them.
I mean, yeah, you could try and trade as well, but I think it'll be more expensive financially for the Florida Mayhem to try and buy other OWL-level players. And instead, I think their scouting should try and go into Contenders Korea because there's still a bunch of players there that are pretty decent, even though they don't have the experience.
Josh is good with the budget. Stick with this man. All right, coming up next, we got to talk about, of course, the matchup we saw with Arc and Jonas facing off against their former team today. It was the Washington Justice going up against the NYXL, but the top team in the Atlantic Division, well, they dominated this one from start to finish. No 3-1s when you're playing the NYXL. These guys came in and closed out strong.
Yeah, gave Flower a bit of playtime, didn't they? Which is always nice. We finally saw him on the big stage, unfortunately, on Brigitte for the majority of it. But,
How do you think he did, Brent?
On Brigitte, can't
Just
tell.
in general.
Because he had so
in
much
general,
hype.
he had-
2017, like MVP of the World Cup, at least the flashiest player.
He had some funny moments, but I think it comes down to a point that you were making earlier in the show, is that it doesn't really fit on this New York Excelsior squad because they're not a flashy team. You know, it seems like you could
Kinda.
replace Carpe with Flower and he'd be a better fit. You know what I mean?
Sure.
In terms of
Right,
that
yeah,
regard,
yeah.
in terms of his play style. But I definitely don't. He's
Maybe
not
that's
awful.
good,
He's not the
though.
worst
But
player in the
maybe
league. I mean,
that's a good thing.
there's a Reddit narrative, right? I gotta shut this down a little.
Shut it
right?
down, Brent.
That he's this washed-up player, you know, because we haven't seen him play. To be fair, didn't have the greatest of time in contenders. You know, I'll give him that.
Yeah.
But I mean, there are worse players, I think, in the Overwatch League right now.
Oh, for sure there are. Of course there are. But the question really is what he adds to the NYXL.
Not
Why
much.
do you think that would be maybe a really good thing, sorry, for them? Just to add that flashiness in?
Yeah, because there's just, I don't know, like you can predict, not that it's helping other teams to actually win against NYXL, but technically you can predict what kind of style they're playing. You do know where they're coming, but like they have their set plays, and
Yeah,
nothing really surprises. They're just so good at execution that, you know, like they're still winning it. Even if you see it coming, they're still winning it. But now adding this X Factor with Flower in there, like, I'm not expecting my Widowmaker to grapple onto me when I'm a Hammond on point. Like that's not what I see coming.
Yeah.
So having that in, if anything, at least it makes it super entertaining to watch. But also it will, pretty likely, it will throw the opponents up. Now think about that. Maybe they're using Flower as a bait. NYXL, they're the team to punish their opponents. So
Yeah,
if they
yeah,
send
true.
in Flower doing his crazy stuff, and people, oh look, he misstepped. We're gonna, you know,
Flower,
call him
Pine,
out.
Sabi will be coming in for the Stage 2 playoffs. I'm calling it now. The triple DPS is unleashed. All right, as we take a look at the overall standings, both New York and Vancouver are undefeated still in the regular season. And many people are saying that the first time we could see these two juggernauts face off could be just a few weeks away in the Stage 2 finals. So I'm wondering, if that battle happened tomorrow, let's talk about these two juggernauts. Who's the stronger team right now? So he's starting with you.
I think it's a really tough one. I mean, I did think that we're going to see them go at each other in the Stage 1 finals, but then New York did their thing, you know, so that didn't happen. So I honestly think at the moment it might be Vancouver Titans.
Vancouver Titans in the 3-3 still.
I do think so. I actually think they might have an edge, but it's not a confident vote I have for them. I do think it will be close.
What about you, Brenji?
Difficult decision because we haven't seen the complete New York Excelsior roster, I feel like, as well from today. They were subbing in Flower a little bit. They've been mixing it up. I mean, Vancouver, I think, would be a safe bet because, I mean, directly from my own mouth when I was writing up the article, kind of predicting their games to come in a couple of days' time when they're playing against Outlaws, they have taken to this meta kind of like a duck in water. And it is quite interesting to see considering they've been playing this triple tank, triple support, but they can flex over a little bit as well. They've shown us that flexibility with Stitch. New York Excelsior seem to be as well in a similar boat to Vancouver. They're sticking to their triple tank, triple support because they can just outplay teams in terms of their teamwork. They're so strong with it.
I thought Titans would be forced off that kind of stuff at some point during this meta because you can play so much more DPS, but they look totally comfortable. And I would have predicted New York over Titans in Stage 1 finals.
Okay.
I thought their more defensive style would absolutely counter how Bumper likes to play, where he just goes really aggressively into you. But the problem is, Titans have just been playing so well in every single match and crushing people. And New York, I can see a little hint of sloppiness in some of their play. Whereas Titans, just their teamwork is actually perfect at times. So I would go with the Titans here. I think they're the team to beat at the moment. I would even say shock a bit in the New York at the moment.
Wow,
Yeah.
you got New York at number 3.
I've got New York at number 3 right now. Yep.
I'm going to
the
save some
spicy
extra
chicken
hot
nuggets
takes
coming
for
up.
tomorrow's pre-show, guys.
I'm
With
not
that
eating
said,
anymore.
some of the top players in the league were on display today, so don't go anywhere. We come back. It's the most over the top moments of the day. Get that brand right. We'll be right back.
The Overwatch League is powered by Intel. Game, record, stream without compromise on Intel Core i7. And by Omen by HP, the official PC and display of the Overwatch League.
Welcome back. It's the Watchpoint Post Show, and it's time to honor the best of the best. It's time for the most over-the-top moments of the day. Start things off at number 5. It's Flower's debut, but it's Danny's mic. Yeah, Flower showing up as Genji. He showed a lot of Brigitte. We saw Batiste be played by Flower, but most importantly, he went for the mic, and Danny said no.
No.
No. Get your hands off my mic. That's some alpha right there. And I think considering that we gave him so much flack for losing the mic twice in
Yeah,
an interview.
I am 37 owned him last
He
year.
really did. He really did. No, big kudos to Danny.
Yeah. Oh, that's so good as well. There is a size difference between Flower and I'm 37.
Yeah, let's keep this party rolling. Here's Flower. Nope, hands off, buddy. Hands off. Keep that on the keyboard and mouse. At number 4, we got our hot takes, some hot sauce.
This is horrible.
It
I
hurt.
did not eat any of these
Like, look
chicken.
at that sauce.
And I
is
was
black.
sweating.
What sauce is black?
Yeah.
Like, you put that in your body, you're just gonna die.
Eel sauce.
I'm still
Soy
in pain,
sauce.
fucking. I'm still in pain, mate. It's been 14 bloody hours. Why is my stomach still hurting? Doesn't make sense. Why do people eat this normally? You can buy this. People actually put this in their sauces. Doesn't make any sense.
Brent, you took your glasses off for that.
No, I
did.
First time since your photo for the Overwatch League. I like it. Bumper was booping everybody. Slime right there with them. 3 straight defenses on the bridge where they knocked off opponents from the Seoul Dynasty. Everybody's sent by the hammer.
Yeah, I love this. Slime gets the boop, and then Bumper just goes and knocks
What
it on
up?
the
That's mine.
He
It's a
takes the kill
Reinhardt
credit.
stream, isn't it?
Ew, and then you hit the shatter and the spear afterwards. That's Bumper for you at number 3. Let's keep this party rolling. At number 2, my guy. Is that Jonak?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, it is. How many kills, Brent? Count them.
You sounded a bit Canadian there, but you got 1, you got 3, you got 4.
You're
coming
counting
up
well?
Right
Yep.
now, and then here comes the 5th. He doesn't get the D-Mac, actually. That's someone else. But then he goes, what a bumpo.
What a bumpo.
I'm pretty sure they were leaving that final kill for Joe.
Oh, yeah, they
as
were.
well. Everybody else could really have killed Santa,
Right.
but they left it to Jonak.
Good
Just for the
guy,
highlight reel.
NYXL, Flower. Sorry, bud. It's still Jonak's party. Moving on for your number 1 play of the day. It's
Oh, yeah.
Gray. Gray teaching all of the Annas at home from bronze to grandmaster. Learn from this man.
Do you know what gets me about this one as well? Is that sometimes the Orisa's positioned further forwards or a little further backwards, and then that grenade wouldn't have worked. So it's either incredibly precise or he's adjusted for exactly where Florida Mayhem are holding. I'm not sure exactly which the answer is, but it's a nuts biotic nade either
Yeah.
way, isn't it?
I like it. I think with the dive as well, like your tanks could go in a half second early, force everyone to back up. Just a thought.
Sure.
Let's keep this going. Bren, it's your turn today, bud.
Atlanta Rain in number 1, Hangzhou Spark. And number 2, no real changes kicking off right here. But here you got number 10, the Vancouver Titans, sitting around 1.4 million bits. You got 8888 at the end of that as well.
That's good.
Well, let's move this one along. I want to read out these names of the other gentlemen or ladies, whoever it may be. Number TV and number 1 still. No shocker there. Pepino Pom as well. He's on 42,500. Ju on the 9th spot with 50K 500.
Doing great.
And number 5, Shelby 75. I'll read you out as well because I felt like he 88,100 bits. That'll go in Overwatch League's pocket. Thank you very much.
And that's why Bren still has a job. Thank you for your bits, keeping Bren in my country. Coming up after the break, we'll take a look at what we've got in store for tomorrow. So don't go anywhere. It's the Watchpoint Post Show. We'll be right back.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by T-Mobile, now connecting 99% of Overwatch League fans. Catch your league on America's network, T-Mobile.
The action returns tomorrow, and here's a look at the schedule for the big day. The Valiant looking for their first win against the Atlanta Reign. The Uprising take on the Hangzhou Spark. Charge try and stop slipping down the leaderboard, but they have to go up against the Shock for a second time. And we close things out with the Hunters taking on the Dragons, a battle of two of our Chinese teams. So let's talk here, fam. What are we most excited about? So he's starting with you. Why are you coming back tomorrow? Who are you watching?
Why am I coming back?
It is her
Mainly
job.
because I do get paid for it.
You don't love your job? You do it for the
do.
money?
I was done.
I come for the love of Overwatch.
Of course you do, Bunker. Anyway, I'm looking forward to. Actually, I think I'm gonna pick the Uprising and Spark here. I do want to see Spark's full potential. They were the one team which has been hyped up so hard before Stage 1 as the team who only plays like who doesn't play triple tank, triple support, but is like leaning more heavily on DPS compositions. So far, they only played against Vancouver, and that was a bit of a slap. However, I do think against Boston, we might see them like, cashing in their scrim box, actually showing their full potential.
I like
I'm looking
that.
forward to that.
Spark versus Uprising. What about you, Bren?
2 words. Chengdu versus Shagai.
That's 3.
Oh, that's a classic. That's a classic.
You could have
Versus
ended with
Uprising.
Hunters. You could have.
Yeah, you could've said
Chengdu
Aimon.
versus Shanghai.
Yeah.
All one word.
You're doing great.
Yeah, no punctuation in between that. That's a game that's going to be pretty good, but I'm actually pretty split. It's my 2 favorite teams. I don't really know what I'm
You
gonna do.
just sold everyone to come tune in for that. Thank you,
That's
Brad.
an
What about you,
eternal
John?
Battle. I'm going to go, I think it could be the first day that we see Valiant get a win on the board. I'm a big Custer fan. I want to see him come out here. I want to see them get a win. Well, there's no reason that Valiant should be at 0 at the moment. They're not the worst team in the entire league. I want to see them get a win on the board. Come on. Tomorrow is the day.
Hot takes for anyone who's not watching the pre-show. Do they do it?
Yes, I think so.
They do
This
it.
is the day.
He's calling it.
I'm calling it. Tomorrow's the day. Valiant's going to get their first win against Atlanta.
Wear your avocado colors. Whoa, avocado colors
Whoa.
to the venue. That's going to do it for me on the show. Thank you guys for watching Watchpoint, but don't worry. Coming up next, we got a Q&A on Twitch with Philadelphia Fusion star Damage Dealer. You know him. You love him. He goes by the name of a fish, carp with an E. So don't go anywhere, guys. And make sure you have the Twitch All Access Pass. We love to plug that. Make sure you have it. It's only $15. Why don't you have it yet? Get it right now. Carpet's Q-Day. Coming up next. We'll see you then.